Hello and welcome back to Bannerlord and Barney's Adventures. So you can see here we have Fafan, and we know him from our time in Sturgia, and he said, "Long time no see," when I actually said hi to him at first. Anyway, as you can see, we've got a pretty decent advantage. Yeah, I wouldn't say the advantage is massive, but we should be all right in general. So let me actually just my headphones are super loud for some reason, but there you go. Okay, because my Barney's obviously shouting in my ears. Thank you very much. Don't really appreciate that, but anyway, we are hopefully going to be in a decent position here. I'm thinking what we're gonna do is we will go to the top of this hill. I think this could be very advantageous for us, and being able to take advantage of this hill is going to be devastating for the enemy if I can make it work, because let's face it, no one is going to be able to get up here. I mean, look at this. This is a really nice place. All right, let's see if I can do it. It's kind of a bit uncomfortable to make your archers and so on and so forth to actually stand there, but we're gonna see how it goes, because they're going to take a bit of time to catch up. As you can see, they're quite far behind us, and you can see that the enemy's cavalry is actually coming in now as well. So let's be a bit careful. Let's try and take them out a little bit. We don't really want to do, well, too much. We don't want to put ourselves in a bad position and then end up taking massive casualties. That would not be very nice. So I'm hopeful that they will not bring their infantry up here. If they bring their infantry up here, then we might have some issues actually dealing with them. But you can see here that my archers are actually now in this kind of positioning. And I think the reason why they're in that position is because the enemy is actually not even moving. Yeah, they're not even moving. So me putting them in this position was theoretically a complete waste of time. But I guess it's alright. As long as we can do some damage to these Sturgian brigands, we can take them out, and, well, then we can move on. But yeah, it's exactly the same as it was with the Crusade defector as well that we fought in the previous episode, because that guy ran in a bunch of cavalry, and, well, let's just say that it didn't really turn out very well for him, because he just ran those guys in any old how, and it doesn't seem to really be making that much of a difference for their strategy. So we're just going to make these guys go loose right here. These guys are in shield wall right now, which is good, and these guys can go into wedge formation. Alright, this might be a bit problematic. Let's put these guys over here. Alright, so I'm hopeful that everything's going to work out. My horse is kind of like a side unicorn at the moment, as you can see. Taking a javelin to the head. That's gotta hurt. I mean, Barney knows all too well about that. As you can see, the javelin is sticking where the sun don't shine, which is certainly not very pleasant for him. I'm sure he's kind of irritated right now as a result of this injury, and I'm sure he's going to make sure that Fafan pays dearly with his head. Oh yes, with his head rolling all over the place. Alright, so hopefully my infantry and archers are now in a good position, and they should start to do decent damage to the opponent. Yep, look at that. Look at that. It's gonna start pouring in now. The damage is gonna start coming in like no one's business, and hopefully we will be able to send my cavalry in too. That's exactly what I want to do here. Try and take out their hired crossbowmen as well, because that's literally one of the best things we can do. Just focus on taking out their archers. Even though the Sturgians are not exactly good at archery, they are going to be doing damage, and we don't want them to be unharassed. We want to make sure that they are disrupted as much as possible, and our infantry should be able to handle the enemy infantry. Going to tell them to charge in now, because most of the infantry that, well, we've seen in Fafan's army is literally just recruits and peasants and things like that, so we really don't need to worry about that whatsoever. And it seems like Kirislava is actually advancing her bow skills very nicely, and I gotta say, that's really nice to see. I feel like my companions have taken a long time to level up, and maybe that's something that the developers will change in the future. But on the one hand, wow, look at this. Look at all these bodies, and you can clearly see where my units were standing, right along this line right here. And you can see that a couple of them have been taken down as well, but I'm hoping that they have not died. But yeah, it seems like, yeah, there you go. We lost 14 of them, which is not even a big deal. 18 renown, 14 influence. All the battles at this point in the game are giving me so many rewards. They're giving me massive amounts of cash, really, really good influence, and very good renown, as well as morale, of course, as well. And now I have to remind myself that I do not want to let this guy go. So we are going to have to execute him in this screen so that I don't forget. I'm trying to remind myself by literally just kind of talking about it over and over, because I'm going to forget it otherwise. Oh, it seems like I have too many prisoners, so that's also not very good. But there you go. And he's the last guy. He's the last guy in his clan. So his clan is completely done now, and they are no more, which is very nice to see. And, oh, yeah, you've got some nice food as well. Thank you. And there we are. All right, that is pretty cool. I do have Laska as our surgeon, and she has 92 in medicine, which I personally feel like is insanely good. So I'm going to keep her as a surgeon, and other people don't really do things that well. As you can see, most of them do not have any other skills with the exception of the fighting and combat skills and things like that. So yeah, that's not going to happen. But now that we've reached clan tier 5, it might be nice for us to get an additional companion. You can see that we've got another little space there for someone. I don't really know who it's going to be, of course, because I haven't really come across any of the companions that actually do have other skills. And I've only come across people that are combat focused. But yeah, anyway, I guess the best thing... Oh, Siaramus, really? Why are you coming here now? Yes, these guys, literally, they do not give up. Let's just say that. Okay, so let's have a look here. They do not give up, says the guy that has not given up in the last 10 episodes against an overwhelming opponent. Yeah, great, great. They're just taking a leaf out of my book by the looks of things. Anyway, this guy is really very weak. If he decides to attack me, then he can very easily do that if he wants to. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all, but we can continue leveling these guys up. And as I spoke about in the previous episode as well, I personally really like the way that leveling up works in Bannerlord, because I always have kind of low tier units. You know, I've got like, look at this. I've got tier 2, I've got some tier 3s, I've got, well, not many tier 1s, but look at this. I've got 5 of these tier 2s and everything. And then, you know, just seeing them advance in levels, seeing them just become more powerful over time really does give you a very satisfying feeling. Anyway, this guy, oh, you know what he's gonna do? Wait a minute. I'm a bit worried about this. This guy might sally out with the garrison. And the last time that happened didn't go too badly, but I'm a bit worried about it happening with this many units. There were 379 in the garrison here. And bear in mind that in the previous sally out, there was not that many. There was about, I think, 260. No, wait, there was actually much more than that. There was 400 or something. So I think we could have actually done it. Never mind. Okay, scratch that. That's there's nothing really to worry about then. I really thought that it was going to be a bit problematic, so I decided to be erring on the side of caution here. But anyway, this guy is gonna go down, or at least I hope so. And we'll see how he does. As you can see, he's got just much less power level than we do, so should be good. What does the scouter say about his power level? Yes, well, it says that he's going to kind of lose relatively easily. Anyway, let's see if we can make that happen without losing too many units, because you've seen my army size right now. My army size is actually kind of large, but I don't have it filled out. So it would be nice to be able to make that happen. If we can fill out our army size and have 210 units, or however much I actually have available, then we can start just destroying things really, really easily. I mean, we have been destroying things, but not as easily as I would have preferred. So that's maybe a small issue. Anyway, as is predictable, the AI is going into a circle formation, of course. I mean, that's what you do when you see an overwhelming amount of cavalry. You go into the circle formation and you try your best to hold off any enemies that want to try and attack you. And personally, I feel like an amazing composition. Oh, hello. I'm going to get up my polearm, actually. I forgot about getting that out ahead of schedule, but yeah, anyway, the point is that if you really want an amazing... Wow, this is going to be an absolute bloodbath for these guys. They're literally running into insane amounts of archers and everything. I do not envy them whatsoever, although I am actually running into things quite recklessly. Anyway, the point is that what I wanted to say was a really good composition in this kind of situation for them would literally just be spearmen and spearmen and spearmen, and then obviously to have those spearmen be backed up with some really good archers, and then maybe have a small contingent of relatively high tier cavalry come in from the side and, you know, do some flanking action. That would be probably the best composition that you could probably do here against the Vlandian force that I currently have fielded. And bear in mind that this is not only comprised of Vlandian units either. I don't only have Vlandians. I have Britannians as well. I have some Imperials. So even if someone wants to counter the Vlandian menace, which we technically are at the moment, we are a menace to the Southern Empire, but even if that is indeed the case, then I feel like even with that kind of formation, we'd probably still do very, very well, because in a circle formation, all the spearmen are just going to get pin-cushioned by the insane amounts of arrows, bolts, and so on. I mean, just look at this. They were running towards our archers, and they didn't even get that close. Look at that. And they got a couple of people close, but I think that was a cavalry that got killed over there. And we literally lost 0. You see what I mean? It's literally all about strategy. And I know. You don't have to tell me. I was pretty awful at strategy in Bannerlord to begin with. I was pretty awful at strategy in Warband to begin with as well. But, you know, it's a learning process. It's a learning process, and I feel like I'm doing a lot better when it comes to knowing how the enemy is going to react and, you know, taking steps accordingly to prevent any possible problems. Anyway, I'm just going to be taking all of these. I did not want to take the peasants. That's the reason why I was actually taking them singularly, because I did not want to take the peasants, but I'm going to let them go because the peasants actually don't level up. Can I... Oh, I can't right-click on them for some reason. Okay, well, whatever the case, I wanted to show you that they don't have any. Ah, there you go. This is the last guy in his clan, so there's another one that has fallen before us, and we do have 10 spaces for a potential amount of prisoners. So I would like to be able to take some people, like some Fian champions. They're not going to join me. Pretty sure they won't, but I'm going to take them nevertheless because I think it would be kind of cool if they did join us. But yeah, it's unlikely. All right, so what else do we have here? Okay, so we got some food here, and that is absolutely fine. And what else do we have? I've got enough food, really, so I'm not going to take the hogs or the cows or anything like that. All right, so I have about 190 or so units. Oh, who's that? Oh, Prindor. Prindor, hello. All the Britannians are coming out of nowhere now, aren't they? Okay, well, let's see if I can do something here then. I will just... Palatine Guards. I personally feel like Palatine Guards are super powerful. Is it just me? Is it just me? If someone playing as Empire out there wants to say whether they're actually good or not, then by all means, you know, go for it. But I personally feel like Palatine Guards, not only because of their stats, because their stats are kind of the same as most high-tier units, but the main thing that you've got to consider is the fact that their armor is really good. In my opinion, at least, their armor seems really, really powerful and seems to have a lot of deflecting capability to it. And these Palatine Guards stats, as you can see, are not any different from the regular high-tier units, but they're really good. I feel like they can take a lot of damage. Anyway, there's another one of these Britannians. I suppose we will be doing some more damage to them. I mean, I don't really have a problem with the Britannians, to be honest. I personally feel like they're a pretty cool faction. But, well, they're on the wrong side at this point. This guy is definitely on the wrong side. He's got 118 against 170. I hope that he has some prisoners. And I am actually quite low. in terms of my HP. So I'm hopeful that I will be able to survive this, because if not, then I'm going to have to return to friendly territory. Speaking of friendly territory, I have not checked any of the fiefs that we took in the previous episodes. I have not checked to see whether they are still safe. I am taking a big gamble that they are safe, but if they are not, then I might be in a bit of a bind, because I really don't want to have to go over there and siege those things again. You don't even know how many times I have sieged these fiefs, these specific fiefs. Hongard Castle, I've besieged it literally, like, I don't even know, 5 times, I think? I'm not entirely sure. If I've shown the siege of Hongard 2 or 3 times on screen, then you can basically double that, or maybe even, I wouldn't say triple it, but it has not gone too well in regards to me being able to secure keeps and castles and even towns. Galend is having a bit of a problem with that as well. No doubt you already saw that Galend was taken, and I don't know how they did that without me being notified or anything, but as I said, there are barely any notifications at the moment, and it does make things a bit difficult in that regard. So anyway, just going to place my units in the relatively similar position, and we will let them do their thing. I will place my people into a loose formation, my archers into a loose formation, that is, and then they will have much easier time shooting at the opponent. And we're going to come in from the side here with all my cavalry, and we will try to disrupt once again all of the enemy's archers. I hope that I will be able to do that. And there we go. Okay, let's tell them to charge in now. There we go. Nice. Take out that Battanian horseman. And maybe we can take out a couple more. I mean, I would like to, if at all possible. Oh, 1 damage. Look at that. I did 1 damage. I can't believe it. Good job. Good job, Barney. That was absolutely fantastic. I'm obviously joking, but yeah, that was a horse charge or something like that. Speaking of horse charge, I think I have leveled up my riding skill a little bit. My riding skill, I think, is enough to actually upgrade my horse. And I think I equipped an Imperial Charger earlier, so that's kind of nice, because it's about time that he actually started using something a little bit better than a step horse or whatever he was using for the majority of this playthrough. But yeah, that was pretty harsh for him to literally start the game without using any horse whatsoever. And I can imagine there were a lot of comments. There were a lot of comments on me not using a horse, and I was thinking to myself, but why? I want to be an infantry, you know? I want to be an infantry. I want to have some fun with my throwing weapons and everything. And I just had to throw all those out the window, literally, and use a mount. Seems like infantry combat is the hard mode. I would say that if you want a very hard challenge, then definitely go for infantry only. That's going to be very tricky indeed. But yep, anyway, I did attempt it, and obviously it was my first time playing the game, so obviously, you know, didn't really work out too well. Anyway, there you go. We can take this guy prisoner. I think he might be the last of his clan. I think so, but don't quote me on that. I actually wanna execute him first. No, he's not the last of his clan. Okay, interesting. So that means that we are going to have to hunt down a bunch more. And we will just get a bunch of these. There we go. Is there anything else? No, that is absolutely fine. All right, so hopefully, hopefully that is all that is going to come over here and interrupt me. And then we will finally be able to besiege Sargoth. I mean, I would prefer to besiege it, because I personally, as I've said before, find town sieges and castle sieges and any kind of siege in Bannerlord to be extremely fun and very enjoyable. Especially when I don't take massive damage initially, because if I take massive damage initially, it's going to be very difficult for me to get that health back, especially in the fight itself. So yeah, all right, let's go in here, and we will besiege the town once more. All right, is that someone already? No, that was just a villager. I was thinking to myself, what's happening here? Seems like they're all coming to say hello. Yeah, okay, well, let's build some onagers. That is what I will be doing. And we'll see if anyone decides to turn up again. Ah, yes, look who we have here. It is none other than Ordric, our father-in-law, technically. and he is wanting to say hello. And I am more than willing to welcome him with open axes, arms. And we'll see if we can... I don't really want to stop my siege at the moment. He has a pretty strong army as well, with the exception of his 46 recruits. He actually does have some pretty decent units. He has 11 Vlandian Knights, he's got some Vlandian Gallants, he's got some Sharpshooters, and various other units that can be quite damaging. So, bit problematic, I gotta say. I don't know whether I can handle another vassal on top of him attacking us. I've only built one onager so far, so... Oh, they're sallying out. This was what I was afraid of before, the sally out. I am unsure whether we will be able to do this, because, as I say, he does have some good units. There are, I believe, 500 on the... Yep, 500 on the battlefield total. They do have a lot of militia. The militia is pretty... we've seen the stats of the militia. They're pretty awful. They are not very good at all. But there is a lot of them. And I personally feel like that is going to be quite difficult for us to handle. We're going to have to put these guys in shield wall, and we're going to have to run interference with our cavalry as much as possible. I guess I should be thanking my lucky stars that he did not appear earlier, and actually did allow me to recuperate a bit of my HP. Oh, that was a nice hit, Ellil. Did you see that? Wow, that was an absolutely insane hit right there. He literally got pushed back off his horse as a result of the force that she shot that arrow with. Wow. That went really nicely. Alright, so yeah. Anyway, there's 13 cavalry on the field for our opponent. We have 60. So we have a dramatic advantage. Oh, I really wanted to... You know, my archers are in such a bad position. They are in a really, really bad position. I don't like them in this place right here, but... we are going to have to leave them, and we'll see what we can do. There's not much that I can do about this. We will just have to roll with it, and hopefully they'll do all right. We've already done a massive amount of damage with our sharpshooters, as you can see. Just look at how much damage they're capable of dealing. Can I retreat? That's the point, because the strategy that I'm thinking of using is retreating, coming back in, retreating, coming back in, and so on and so forth. I think we're probably going to have to do that because there are just too many units collapsing on our infantry right now. I did not do a very good job of running interference with my cavalry because they were on us a little bit too fast for me to make that decision. So we're going to have to be a bit quicker next time. I obviously wanted to try and intercept the cavalry as well, but this is a much better hill right here. As you can see, the boundary to the level is very close by as well. So let's place the archers up here this time around. I think this is going to be much better for us. I think the main thing with strategies in general, especially in games like this, you know, even in, I think even in Total War, height advantage is a big, big deal. And being able to have the height advantage in these kinds of situations is paramount to success. And it is even the case in many other strategy games, like StarCraft, for example. Being able to have the high ground does give you an attack bonus. So this is the kind of thing that we hopefully will be able to utilize quite nicely. Look at this. That's much better. We have more than half of our archers on a raised surface. And I'm going to actually move them a little more. Probably here. See, here's the thing. They're actually behind the lip of the area, which I don't like. So I'm hopeful that I might be able to get them a little bit closer. I'd like more accurate positioning for my units, if at all possible. But it's very difficult to do that in a position like this. You kind of have to be, you know, top down or isometric view, or, you know, just having a bird's eye view to be able to place them in a much more precise positioning. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to deal with it the way that it is right now. And obviously my Vlandian crossbowmen, they're going to do a pretty decent job of murdering everything from range, and I will do a good job, or at least I hope I will do a good job at running some interference here. And look at my War Razor. It's just so long. Basically, people cannot even outrange me with their abilities, which is really working very nicely. Now, our enemies are charging their cavalry in, as you can no doubt tell, and that is not really going to work out too well for them, I don't think. I'm going to tell my cavalry to follow me once again. I mean, they're obviously already following me, but this is the kind of thing what I mean when I say run interference. You know, being able to run like this and being able to prevent people from doing a massive amount of damage to our cavalry by not stopping them really does make a big difference. Thankfully, my infantry is dealing with the enemy's cavalry quite well. And if we can continue doing this, we're going to not lose that many units whatsoever. But what I am going to end up doing is I will have to charge my cavalry. Oh yeah, this is going to be painful. Hello. Yeah, so I'm going to charge my cavalry in right now so that we can start dealing damage to their archers primarily, because it seems like we have separated their forces, which is great. I mean, I was actually not anticipating them being so lax with their defense of their archers, but you can see how much damage they're actually capable of taking right now. And we have run in right there, doing a massive amount, and we're not having to deal with any of their spearmen. None of their spearmen whatsoever. But we are going to have to retreat once again because we are the minimal force, and it is necessary for us to do that. So we're going to have to go in again and see what we can do. But that was much, much better. I probably shouldn't have charged my cavalry in, all things considered, because I actually did end up losing quite a few units as a result of that action. And I don't think that that was worth it, personally. I feel like we did eliminate quite a few as a result of that action, but I think that we could have prevented more casualties to ourselves if I had been a bit more patient, perhaps. A bit more patient. I became a little bit impatient there, maybe a little bit overconfident, because I was looking at the power levels and I was thinking to myself, whoa, we haven't lost anyone. We've basically barely lost anyone. And that kind of persuaded me to, you know, do a little bit of charging action. And, you know, charging every so often, that's absolutely fine. But, oh, I did not want to auto-delegate them. My bad. I did not want to auto-delegate, so we're just going to tell them to... No, oh dear, oh dear. Now I'm getting totally confused with all of the commands, but it's absolutely fine. We're going to get a bit more used to things as well. Yes. I should probably just, you know, yell out voice commands or something like that. That's probably going to be much, much easier. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's actually going to be harder. Really depends. But anyway, I've got my archers in possibly the best location that we have so far gotten them in. And my infantry is ready. And they have one cavalry. They have literally one cavalry on the enemy side. I wonder whether that is Aldrich himself, because I'm pretty sure we have not eliminated him. Nope, that was just a Vlandian Gallant. Okay, interesting. So we must have eliminated Aldrich in the previous round, which is actually kind of interesting. Okay, well, this is a bit of a tricky situation. I'm hoping that the spearmen will stop running. We're going to need to do something with our cavalry and fast if we want to make a difference in this fight, because otherwise... Ah! We got shot in the leg. Did you see that? Look. Oh no, the arrow... Oh no, never mind. We got shot in the Achilles heel. Oh, so that... You know what that means? Achilles is Barney. No. That's totally not it. But anyway, we are doing a lot of damage right here. I'm actually going to let the fight play out for the most part, because if I retreat at this point, I will no longer be able to enter the battle myself. And that is a big problem. So I'm going to just let my forces do what they do, and hopefully we will be able to achieve victory here. I don't know how many... How much cavalry do we have? That's the thing. I can't really tell at a glance how much cavalry we actually have remaining. So I need to scroll through all of this. I think that that also could be a bit of a quality of life improvement, because as it is right now, I can't tell how many cavalry I have, and I can't use commands, as you can see right there. It cannot issue order while dead. I could hold Alt. Yeah, I have 27 cavalry remaining. Okay, that actually does work then. Okay, never mind. Never mind. My complaints were unfounded. Completely unfounded. But, yeah, there you go. Okay, so that is indeed a victory for us. That is indeed a victory. I could have technically retreated for a third time, but personally I feel like having a bit of a self-imposed rule in these kinds of cases where I'm only allowed to retreat maybe like 3 times and then that's it, because I didn't really want to continue retreating again and again and again, because otherwise it doesn't feel right, you know, to not lose any units in each of the battles. Obviously that does sound a little bit silly, because obviously in actual warfare you really think people are going to waste their units randomly. No, they're not. They're going to try and very much save every single piece of strength that they can. Sometimes obviously that doesn't happen, but let's not talk about those times. But yeah, it was actually not bad. We only lost 10 units. We gained 60 renown. Crazy. Crazy. And hopefully we will be able to take him prisoner. I wonder how Lena is going to feel about this, because her father has defected to the enemy. And, well, let me just say that I would not be too pleased if that was my in-game father either. I would be very upset that he decided to join the opponent and potentially try to kill us. Yeah, that's not very nice, is it? So, goodbye, Aldrich. Boom. There we go. All right, so he is done. We are over the prisoner limit, but that is to be expected, of course. And does he have any food? Yeah, he just literally had grain. Are you serious? That's kind of weird. I feel like that's kind of weird, because being part of the Southern Empire should give you access to huge amounts of food and troops and all kinds of manners of things. So it's very strange to me to see all these lords. I mean, look at Callatild right now. Callatild's running around with 132 in her army. It's just so fantastic to actually see the Vlandians starting to rebuild, starting to, you know, reconstruct their previous strength and get to a position of power once again. Really is very, very fun to see that. And you can see here that every single castle is perfectly fine. Everyone is walking around. We got Morcon with 82 units. Very nice to see that again. And you know what I'm gonna do? I think... Oh yeah. I'm gonna call for... Oh, actually, we've got a bunch of armies. Never mind. Apparently, we already have a bunch of armies already running around. And you can see here, I could ask for Allery and Callatild to join me. But personally, I don't really see the necessity to do that. We can take castles by ourselves. But the thing is I was actually going to call for a massive army and try and strike at the heart of the Southern Empire. Actually, I'm unsure which is their capital, to be honest, because the Southern Empire took over so many things in such a short space of time that I am unsure what it is, really. I am unsure what it is. So if I actually, wait a minute, if I go here and go to kingdoms, maybe they'll tell me what their capital is. I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, look at this. They have so many clans. It's just absolutely crazy. But as I said before, most of these clans literally only have one vassal a part of them. So it looks a lot more... shall we say, dangerous than it actually is. But they do have quite a few fiefs, as you can see. Massive amounts, in actual fact. But yeah, there you go. All right, so that's going to be it for this episode. I actually did want to do and indeed take another town in this one. But obviously that just was not doable, because there were just so many people wanting to attack us. But anyway, I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.